This lesson is about factorizing harder quadratics. Now you should have learned how to factorize and solve the simple ones, like the ones in the starter questions. So pause the video, have a go at the question, okay, starter question. When you're ready for the answer, you can press play. Hey Smarties.
Me.
So you should know how to do them. These are basic ones. You should have learned how to solve them and factorize them. Just a quick recap. To work out the two numbers inside bracket, you want to get a product, two numbers of product that multiply give you 6 and add to give you the middle term 7. So here are the answers. So notes, quadratic functions, which are known as the ax squared plus bx plus c, itself is also an expression. If you make it equal 0, it becomes an equation. And not always equal 0, technically. You can equal anything that will make it an equation. But why is this not an equation? Because f of x is just a name of this. Okay, these are just some really technical stuff. You don't really have to know, but it's good to know, function of x. Right, so the simple quadratic ones you have learned, as I've said, like you've done in starter, are the ones with the coefficient of x squared as 1. So you can see the number in front of x squared is always 1 in here. And these are what we call the simpler ones. Okay, so when the value of a, as in the coefficient of x squared is 1, if you want to highlight a to color code it for yourself, so the a in here, so you know this a is referred to the number in front of x squared. So to factorize it, as we said, I'm not going to go for that. You want to work out a pair of numbers that multiply, give you a c value, and to give the b value, and put them in the brackets. Right, the main theme of today, the main dish today, is about the harder ones. So when the value of a is larger than 1, actually technically is not 1, when it's not 1, for example, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, usually, sometimes you have negative, but rarely, because when you have negative, you can make it back to positive by rearranging to the other side. Right, so essentially what we'll do is we find a pair of numbers that multiply to give a times c. So you want to do a times c value, 2 times 3, and then similar to what you did with simple one, you want to find two numbers that multiply, give 2 times 3, not 2 and 3 itself, but 2 times 3, which is 6. So you want to find a pair of number multiply, give you 6, and add to give you 7. Okay, and then once you've got those two numbers, unfortunately, you can't just put them in a bracket. The next step is to split the b term, split the middle term. Again, power of color coding. So I use different color of highlighter, the b in here. So that's just to make you aware. So you can split the b term. That means whatever two numbers you've got in there, you're going to split the b term. And then you're going to split through the middle and factorize the first two terms and the last two terms. And then you assemble like IKEA. Right. However, not all quadratics can be factorized. Now, let me ask you a question. If it can't be factorized, how can we solve a quadratic equation? Maybe you can tell me, even though I can't hear it. Yes, if you told me the answer is quadratic formula, then you're correct. Okay, so not all quadratics can be factorized. If it can't be factorized, you can always rely on quadratic formula to solve a quadratic equation. However, some equations just do not have a solution at all. Okay, so first step, I'm going to write down the value of a, b, and c. Okay, so first of all, I need to find a pair of numbers that multiply 2 times 3, which is 6. And then I need to find a number that add to give 7. So a pair of number that multiply give 6 and add to give 7. So it will be a positive 1 and 6. So next, we're going to use these two numbers to split the b term. So let me rewrite the question again. So this b term plus 7, I'm going to split into 1 and 6. So I'm going to do 2x squared plus 1x plus 6x plus 3. Next, I'm going to split in the middle and factorize the first two terms and the right two terms. So if I split in the middle in here. Now note, when I split it, I put the splitting line before the sign because the sign follows the next term. So in here, the 2x squared plus 1x could be factorized as x bracket 2x plus 1. And this 6x plus 3, I can factorize a positive 3 out. It becomes 2x plus 1. Now note, these two brackets should always be the same when after you do your factorizing. The first two terms and last two terms. Okay, once you've got that, what you can do is then you can assemble together. So you can put an x and the plus 3 together, which gives x plus 3. I'm going to color code it. And then the 2x plus 1 with a second bracket. And that will be the answer. Okay, double check. To double check our answer, we should expand the bracket. Okay, so double check. You should always do this step if they ask you to factorize to expand. So you want to expand the bracket. So x plus 3 times 2x plus 1. X times 2x, 2x squared. X times 1 is x. 3 times 2x, 6x. 3 times 1 is 3. Simplify the like terms in the middle. 7x plus 3. Does it match? Yes, it matches, so it works. Next one, we're going to same. I'm going to write a equals 6, b equals minus 1, and c equals minus 1. So I need to find a number that multiply give you. So 6 times minus 1 is negative 6, and add to give the middle term minus 1. Now, first of all, ignore the negative for now. Think about the factors that multiply give you 6. You got 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. Ignore the plus and minus. Think about when you add them up or minus them, which one can give you a 1. The only option is 2 and 3, because 1 plus 6 is 7, 6 minus 1 is 5, so there's no way the difference could be a minus 1. So the only way to get a difference is between of minus 1 is 2 and 3. The overall sum is a minus, that means the minus should be put on the minus, the bigger number, so minus 3. So therefore, we're going to split the middle term, minus 1, into 2 and minus 3. Okay, right, so I'm going to rewrite the question again. Next, I'm going to split middle term into, now, if I have a negative number, I'll always put it first. The reason being is you can avoid a silly mistake from there. So trust me, just do a negative number first if you can do. So minus 3x plus 2x minus 1. So the minus x now becomes minus 3x and plus 2x. So again, if you have a negative number in here, so if one of them negative, put a negative number first. Next, I'm going to break up in the middle, and then I can factorize the first left and the right left. There's a right left, I mean the right pair, the first pair and the right pair. So split in there, and then I can factorize the first two. So these two terms, they have a common factor of 3x, so it'll be x minus 1. This one, or 2x minus 1. This one, I can't factorize anything, so I'll put a 1 in front, 2x minus 1. Now this one is quite sort of important because then you can put them together. Again, as I've mentioned just in the previous example, these two brackets should be matching. Okay, these two brackets should be matching. So next, I can assemble them. 3x plus 1 together, and then 2x minus 1. So just to color code it for you, the 3x plus 1 is here. Okay. Often or not, you'll be sometimes given bigger numbers to work with, especially in the later part of the paper. Usually, let's say if you do an Excel paper, usually in the second half of the paper, the last 2-3 question, especially coupling with the probability tree, they do like you use some bigger numbers, okay, in and on calculator. So be mindful of that. You need to have a good understanding of numbers, products, I guess. Right, so first of all, again, a equals 15, b equals minus 26, and c equals 8. Of course, if you want to have a go at this question, you can pause the video, have a go. I'm not going to stop you. Well, I can't. So anyway, so I need to find a pair that give you multiply 15 times 8 is 120. Add to give you negative 26. So think about pairs of numbers give you 120. 2 and 60, 3 and 40. You need a bit of closer to have a difference of 26. The easy one actually is negative 20 and negative 6. Next, we're going to split the middle term into minus 20 and minus 6. So 15x squared minus 26x plus 8. Now equal to 15x squared negative. Now because both of them are negative, so there is not really a priority which one to do right first. If you have one negative, one positive, again, do you put a negative first? So this one minus 20x minus 6x plus 8. Split in the middle. Factorize the front and factorize the back. So factorize the front. So 15 and 20 common factor of 5. X squared and x common factor of x. So 15x squared, so it would be 3x minus 4. This one, a factor of 2. 2. So now, because of a minus in here, if I factorize a positive 2, okay, let's say if I do factorize a positive 2, okay, so what will happen then? It becomes minus 3x minus 4. Oh, actually, plus 4. Now, what's the problem in here? The problem is, remember, these two brackets should be matching, but they're not because the signs are different. So therefore, what we need to factorize actually is a negative 2. I'm going to cross it out. Okay, when you factorize a minus 2, and there becomes a 3x minus 4. Next, 5x minus 2, because these two brackets are matching, so we can assemble it 5x minus 2, and then 3x minus 4. Okay, of course, we should be double checking the answer, so double check. Especially with bigger numbers, you do want to make sure you make no mistake, in particular with the negatives in here as well. So very mistake prone. Me myself as a teacher, when I do the lesson in front of a class, always make a mistake. They always have a laugh. Well, some say I'm doing it for the comical effect, but actually I'm not. 5x times 3x is 15x squared. 5x times 4 is negative 20x. Minus 2 times 3, negative 6x. Negative 2 times negative 4 is plus 8. Factorize them, simplify the like terms in the middle. Negative 26x plus 8. Does it match with the question? It does. Correct. Example, a special case. There's a name for this special case. Anyone know what's the name? It's called difference of two squares. Well, you can spot this difference of two squares when the middle term is missing. When the b term is missing, then you know sort of difference of two squares. Also, you should know there are some square numbers. You know, it's not every day that you see square numbers. So, right, 1 doesn't count, by the way. Right, so 4x squared minus 121, we can rewrite as 2x squared minus 11 squared. So that's the difference of 2 square. These are square numbers. 2x, 11, each of them is square number, difference and minus. Next, we can then put what we highlighted in a bracket, 2x, and then plus and minus version. And that's the answer. Of course, you can double check your answer. So we can do a double check. So 2x minus 11, 2x plus 11. So 2x times 2x, 4x squared. 2x times 11 is plus 22x. Minus 11 times 2, minus 22x. Minus 11 plus 11, minus 121. So plus 22x minus 22x cancel out. So same as a question. So 4x squared minus 121. Okay. So enough of me talking. You can have a go with a question.
Oh, finally.
Okay. Factorize the following quadratic expressions. When you're ready for the answer, you can press play. Here are the answers. So I'm not going to go through much. I did write down step by step how to work out. If you check the final answer, if you got it wrong, that means something is wrong in the middle step. Again, if you have one negative number, do put a negative number first. It will save your factorizing a lot easier, and you can avoid silly mistakes. Especially like if you have both negative, you have to factorize the negative in there, just to remind you. You should also expand the brackets, double check your answer. So here's answer C, D, and E. You've got the difference of two squares, and F, slightly bigger number to deal with. To solve harder quadratics is the same as solving simple quadratics. Easy after you have done your harder bit, which is about factorizing. So to solve a quadratic equation, you just have to factorize and then do the same step as the normal quadratic. So question A, you're going to factorize it first. So to factorize it, I've done it in a previous example, so I'm going to go through how to factorize this. So I'm going to factorize, okay, so I'm going to factorize 2x squared plus 7x plus 3, which equals x plus 3 and 2x plus 1. So after I've got that, I'm going to make it equal 0. So x plus 3 equals 0. So x plus 3 equals 0, or 2x plus 1 equals 0. So x equals negative 3, or bring the 1 over first, will become minus 1, divide by the 2, becomes minus a half, and that's the answer. Okay, question B, again, you have to factorize it first, so you have factorized it in the previous example, 5x minus 2, 3x minus 4, equals 0. And then we can make each bracket equal 0. And then bring the 2 over. This one, bring the 4 over. Oh, we can do it one by one first. We can do this first. So divide by 5, 2/5. This one, bring the 4 over, divide by the 3. And these are your answers. Here comes practice question 2, also the last practice question for this lesson. So pause the video, have a go at the question. For question A to F, these questions, you have done them in the previous practice, which is practice question 1. So feel free to use these answers to help you work out the final answer. But I know for some of you, you want to do everything from scratch. I have given you G, H, and I to try them. Okay, so you can pause the video, have a go at the question. When you're ready for the final answer, you can press play. You can't say I didn't put in my effort. I have written down all of the answers step by step for you. Okay, so question A, B, A to E, as I said, we have used the previous result factorizing, so it'll be much quicker. Here are the answers. Then for G, you will have to factorize it first. Okay, so factorize it, and then you get 3x plus 2, 2x plus 7. Then you solve it, and you get minus 2/3 or minus 7 over 2. We tend to leave it as a improper fraction when it comes to the solutions of these quadratic equations, mainly because the improper doesn't give us, proper fractions doesn't, mixed number doesn't give us anything apart from presentation, which is like food. You don't always need the best presentation, as long as it's delicious, it doesn't matter, right? Right, H, same there, factorize it, you should get 5x plus 3, x plus 8, and your final answer should be minus 3 over 8 and negative 8. Then for I, factorize it, 4x plus 3, 6x plus 5, and the answer will be minus 3/4 and minus 5 over 6. So hopefully by this lesson, by the end of this lesson, as in now, you should be more confident in solving and factorizing harder quadratics. Harder quadratics means the quadratics with the coefficient of x squared bigger than 1.
NANI?お前はもう死んでいる。